drowning,
Hmm.
sometimes you got to subdue them to save them.
Well, speak truth.
Sometimes you got to hit them in the head to save them. And so today we might have to hit you in the head with truth to save you. But again, it's in love because again, our goal is to fight for you. And who are we? Well, sitting across from me here on the Power Hour is Bishop Dwayne David Royster.
And sitting across from me is the Reverend Dr. Mark Kelly Tyler.
Yep, and the glue that holds the show together always, with all the technical things in the background. I'm telling you, I don't know how she does it, but she does it not only for this show, but also for Wake Up with Word that follows this show, is none other than the queen herself, Kawesa.
Kawesa.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
I'm well. Yeah, I'm looking forward to the weekend, but I am well.
Well, I feel you pushing to celebrate this morning, and I appreciate that. I realize this is, complicated. It's difficult, but you're like, I'm working for the weekend,
Yes.
And that's all right. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad that you are here with us this morning. How was your ride in today?
The ride wasn't too bad. Really wasn't, a whole lot of traffic, thank goodness. At the last half of my ride, I was tailed by a police officer, so I was like nervous. I was like, I'm going the speed limit. I'm doing everything right. Don't pull me over. But yeah, the traffic really wasn't that bad. It's a little like kind of wet outside just because there were some isolated thunderstorms and things like that last night. So just take it slow for a couple folks who are out there. Maybe turn your car on a little bit earlier so you can get some of the water off your windshield and the back of your window and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, not too bad. I mean, it's gonna be warm. We know this. We know it's warm. So just be prepared for the thick, air outside.
Into the thick of it, I think is what they say. Isn't
Yeah.
it?
So, but yeah, not too bad.
Gotcha. Well, thank you, Joyce. Appreciate that.
Of course.
Yeah, I tell you. And speaking of it getting hot, it's not just hot weather-wise, but it is heating up around everything related to COVID-19.
Well, that is going a little bonkers. You're right about that.
I mean, just so many different things that are happening, from misinformation given out by Congress people, new mask mandates in Philly, while in places like Texas and Florida, governors who say they don't want the government in their business are at the same time in people's business.
Mm.
Isn't that weird?
I was actually going to post the other day that Greg Abbott and Ron DeSantis should be impeached, recalled, whatever you have to do in those states, right? They're just putting people's lives at risk for their failure to, initiate mask mandates, to do social distancing. At least Kay Ivey over in Alabama got it together and is like, okay, y'all need to put some masks on, get some vaccinations. But those two have just been absolutely defiant. And now they're asking states around them to help them out with, hospital beds and, and taking patients. And it didn't have to be this way. It just didn't have to be this way. So, I mean, there's like a numerous number of states where the numbers of COVID are just going through the roof. Florida and Texas are the worst. And, just some simple common sense. I guess common sense isn't common. Would have really helped out in terms of trying to, bring this all together.
As folks say, common sense ain't that common anymore.
Yeah.
And,
this is beyond politics. I mean, honestly, it has to be beyond politics. It's got to be beyond a Democrat and a Republican thing. It's got to be, beyond libertarian or, socialist. The bottom line is, at the end of the day, we're trying to save lives. And, why is it that people just can't seem to get that concept together? Every day there are videos coming out of people that refuse to wear masks in stores, people that, just want to be absolutely defiant about this. and they think that somehow or another they have the right to infect me or the right to cause problems in my family or your family, and not be held responsible and accountable for that. Your liberty doesn't have the right to impinge upon me. What was it? The Supreme Court says, freedom of speech doesn't allow you to go into a movie theater that's not on fire and sit there and yell fire and, feel like you're protected and cause danger to people. Well, the bottom line is right now that many of these states are literally on fire with COVID, and people are sitting there and saying everything is fine. Well, it's not fine. It's not fine when you don't have enough hospital beds, you don't have enough ICU units, you don't have enough nurses, you don't have enough doctors, you don't have enough people. There was one hospital in Texas, a story came out a couple months ago, that the hospital required every staff person to get the vaccine. And if you didn't get the vaccine, then you had to leave the company. 152 people quit because they didn't want to get the vaccine. I'm like, you work in a hospital that were taking care of COVID patients, and you don't want to get the vaccine? Are you serious? So, I'm just, it's just absolutely mind-boggling to me why people are, why they behave the way that they do.
Well, I mean, listen, this is the legacy that Donald Trump has left behind. Right. And even though, strangely enough, the COVID vaccine was, created during his administration. And I mean, if there's anything that he could actually literally take credit for, I mean, like legitimately, he could walk away and say, look, I put all the energy and effort into getting the vaccine, and people said it couldn't be done, and it was done. And he could have actually used that as the signature defining moment of his administration. And instead, for some strange reason, though he and his entire family took the vaccine, the manner in which he conducted himself as president, based so much on misinformation, has now created this monster, right? That, like you said, is killing people. And so in Philadelphia, because we have such a high vaccination rate, we're not seeing those same kind of hospitalizations and deaths that we did last year, but numbers are still going up, right? So we went from 52 new cases a day, a low back in June, early June. That number is now 229 new cases a day, thereby triggering the city health department. Dr. Bettigold just announced yesterday, the acting health commissioner, that in Philadelphia, masks will be required indoors in all businesses unless the business, like a church, I would presume, has a policy that says demonstrate that you are vaccinated before you enter. And if you are, you do not have to wear a mask indoors. And so, but I mean, again, so even in places where there is a heavy population of vaccinated people, we're again having to change things to try to stay ahead of this thing instead of falling behind, because we know what that looks like. That looks like death. That looks like hospitalization. That looks like business shutting down. That looks like the economy suffering. And who in the world wants that again?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I mean, evidently there's some people that don't have a problem with that because they don't have the foresight to see that a vaccine and wearing face masks and practicing social distancing will actually get the economy started, will get us back into our workplaces, will get us back in the community sooner if people would just, spend a couple of months just acting like they had some sense.
Yeah, I mean, so like, as you said, so Greg Abbott, governor of Texas, like his buddy Ron DeSantis, is going after school administrators. I mean, look, this is the part that just, honestly,
children. A lot of these new cases are children.
Yeah, and so a lot of these big districts like Dallas and Houston and places like that, where it's just like, bro, come on, this is not like, and Austin, I would say, but this is not like, I don't know, like where my father was born, Paris, Texas, right? Where it's just spread out and very few people, and you can just kind of rock any way you want. In these highly congested places, they have to protect themselves. And so here is a governor who says to the federal government, stay out of Texas. Texas for Texans. Remember the Alamo, and all of that good stuff. And we have a right
Remember the Alamo, and that nobody made it out of the Alamo.
Yeah, that's right.
You know, yes.
And so,
Absolutely.
right. So here you have this moment where this governor who is all about the right for people to do what they want, then turning to a superintendent of schools and saying, you don't have the right to do what you want because I am the government and I am going to impose this on you. Man, I don't have enough space in my mind to contain the cognitive dissonance that creates for me.
Well, I mean, Ron DeSantis in Florida actually threatened school districts and administrators there, basically saying, I'll withhold your money if you put a mask mandate in place. I will withhold your money. And then what about the businesses across the country that are telling people you can't come in here unless you take your mask off? I'm like, what is the foolishness around this, really? You know, it's not like the businesses that are saying you have to wear a mask or you need to show that you're vaccinated. No, there are businesses out there that are basically saying if you come in here with a mask, we won't, serve you or whatever. And I'm like, that's insane.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Are you serious?
Yeah, I've seen some pictures of people like posting like signs on social media and stuff of businesses that are saying, no mask or no service. It's absolutely insane.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, so just in as well. So yesterday, YouTube took down Rand Paul for a month. He's on timeout, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, believe, is with that maybe with YouTube and Twitter, but I know for a fact that Rand Paul definitely has been suspended from YouTube for sharing false information regarding COVID. Now, isn't it ironic that that happens at the same time that we discover that he and his wife have violated the Stock Act, which basically requires congresspersons who make financial purchases or have some kind of interest in stocks to file a disclosure report within 45 days of that purchase and transaction. So it's not that they cannot benefit from the market, but they have to disclose it in a timely manner because you know what?
Right.
We need to know when you're out there arguing on TV and stamping your foot on the floor of the Congress and pounding your fist on the podium and wagging your finger at the camera that you don't have a vested interest.
Right.
Makes sense, right? It just took Rand Paul a little over a year, I think even longer than that, to disclose that his wife, about a year and a half, that his wife actually did one of those purchases. She purchased stock in the vaccine.
Oh, wow. Wait a minute.
February.
She purchased stock in the vaccine, but Rand Paul's acting the fool.
In February of 2020.
Arguing with Fauci left or right, Dr. Fauci left or right. Wow.
Dwayne, it's called hedging your bet.
Mm.
They're looking like we win no matter what. If COVID wins, we win. COVID loses, we win. Hedging your bet, bro. Oh. And yet at the same time that this comes out, he is being suspended from YouTube for asserting that cloth masks are useless.
Yeah.
I mean, I just, and let us just throw one more log on the fire before the break. He is a medical doctor.
Yeah, well, Fauci said he's not a doctor. He's an ophthalmologist or something like that. He's like a doctor of optometry as opposed to a medical doctor, I think.
He can't see.
No, he can't see to save his life.
His vision is bad.
Bad.
Yeah. I mean, this is just, it's really incredible. Oh, wow. So, and here we are. So this is, so thanks, Kwesa. So there's a restaurant in Huntington Beach, California, of all places, that outside of a restaurant that says patrons must be unvaccinated to enter. Oh, man. It's true. I don't even have enough. I got some coffee in this cup, but I think I might need some more. And we have now entered the real crazy phase of all of this. We got to take a break. so that we can all collectively regain ourselves and our composure, you must prove that you are unvaccinated to enter a restaurant in California, in Huntington Beach.
Of all places, right, which has got the numbers going through the roof again.
We'll be right back. This is the Power Hour. Hey, social media, share this out with your friends and family on Facebook and YouTube. This is Progressive Black Talk Media. We'll be right back.
Comcast has built a broadband network with one simple purpose: to keep customers connected. In the last 10 years, they have invested $30 billion to keep America's largest gig-speed broadband network fast, secure, and reliable. And they work around the clock to build a better network every single day. Learn more at comcast.com/network.
Philadelphia Families PHL Pre-K, the city's free quality pre-K program, is growing and now enrolling. Over 160 pre-K centers are ready to serve children this year. There are no income limits for this free pre-K program. Children who are 3 or 4 years old as of September 1 can enroll. Call 844-PHL-PRE-K or visit phlprek.org to learn more and find a quality pre-K center. That's 844-745-7735. This program is made possible by the Philadelphia Beverage Tax.
WURD Founders Day. Don't miss our annual Founders Day live broadcast and celebration, Thursday, August 26th, honoring the life and legacy of our founder, Walter P. Lomax Jr., MD, featuring a very special broadcast of a ceremonial street naming for Dr. Lomax from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. at 1800 Wharton Street, the site of his first medical center. Hosted by Charles Ellison. The day will also include a series of virtual panels and conversations exploring health, wealth, and independent media. Start or renew your forward membership on Founders Day at the special discounted rate of just $80. For more information about WURD Founders Day, visit wordradio.com. WURD Radio Founders Day is brought to you by Pico, Keystone First, Bank of America, Ready Set Philly, Comcast, Brown's Family ShopRite, Temple University, and Councilmember Kenyatta Johnson, 2nd District. You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media. Hey family, join WURD for the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour. This year we celebrate West Oak Lane, Mantua, North, West, and North Philly. Tiffany Bankin will broadcast live from a different neighborhood each Friday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Our next stop is North Philly at the Martin Luther King Recreation Center, 2101 Cecil B. Moore Avenue, Friday, August 13th. Pick up voter registration information, meet special guests, and stand with WURD. Be a part of the movement to amplify the voice of the black community. Show your support and join and renew your forward membership on site. That's the Summer of Freedom Neighborhood Love Tour at Martin Luther King Recreation Center from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, Friday, August 13th. So y'all get out there and join our colleague Tiffany Bacon as she broadcasts live from the MLK Center, Recreation Center, 2101, 21st and Cecil B. Moore Avenue on Friday, August 13th. Awesome.
Boom.
Great time.
Yeah, I did make it out last Friday, and shout out to, I did. Yep, I got there at the end, so everybody was leaving, but you know, I got there.
Did you go up on the bike?
Of course.
Did you make a lot of noise?
Yeah. Well, not too much.
Okay, that was nice.
Little South Philly neighborhoods will give you the business.
My mother's from South Philly, man. You know.
I'm telling the truth. They'll let you know about yourself. How would you like if I come to Mother Bethel revving up my engine? Sorry, ma'am. So listen, this is funny. So on social media, Raphael says,
I saw it. I was like, I just ignored it.
So I've always wondered why you listen. You know, you and a couple others who seem to always have an issue with everything the two of us say. Raphael says, the two of you, meaning Royster and myself, the two of you don't have access to enough truth to save anybody. And he's kind enough in parentheses to add, with all due respect, Rev and Bishop, I listen to your program to amuse myself. You need more diversity of opinion on this station. The conversations are too one-sided. Well, that explains it. And I, you know, to be fair, I kind of read your comments to amuse myself. If we're going to be honest here this morning. I mean, listen, to think that, for example, that any of these programs, anywhere that you hear, whether they bring a lot of voices in or just a few voices in, are somehow trying to give you a diversity of opinion, it's not really the case. You know, this is opinionated talk radio. Mm-hmm. And so don't be surprised when people who have opinionated talk radio shows or YouTube channels or whatever else bring people in that somehow kind of reinforce their opinion. This is what happens. That's why if you want a diversity, then you listen to a diversity of different kind of shows, and that actually gives you a diversity. But there, you know, there are no unbiased people in the world. I hate to tell you this. And anybody who tells you that they're unbiased is probably a liar. Crickets. That long pregnant pause. Because you can't, it's you know, it's like, it's the whole, you know, this is not subjective. I'm just dealing with the facts here. No. We all use facts and information. So it's my opinion that, you know, COVID-19 is real. Mm-hmm. Whether it was designed on purpose, whether a monkey did it, whether it was a bat, I don't really care about that part. I care about the people whose lives are at risk. Absolutely. And yes, State Rep Derisha, you're right. We've all been laxed in wearing masks because we were going in the right direction. Look, and now we're not.
I had to take my dad out yesterday, and my dad and my nephew, and we had to go to dealing with some stuff with switching cars over, and my nephew's taking over a couple of my dad's old cars. And we're in the place, and I walk in, and I'm like, Dad, you got to pull your mask up. He's like, there's a sign there that says you don't need your mask anymore. And I'm like, I don't care. I don't care. I kept my mask on the whole time. And, you know, I just think that, you know, folk are subject to their own opinions and their own ideas. I'm going to do what's going to take care of me and mine. And I'm going to do what I have to do, you know, when we're on the air to take care of me and mine. And if some folk are amused, God bless them and have a really good life. But, you know, for those that we're going to leverage and be able to use this as an opportunity to educate, train, develop, and help people be able to grow, we're going to do that too.
Hey, one more thing. I'm not going to make this a whole show about Raphael because I know that's what he would want us to do. But Raphael is so funny, man. We could do an entire segment on Raphael's comments from Facebook. He says, oh, I see, Rev. You're trying to go tit for tat. That wasn't very Christ-like. You're right. I'm not Christ. I'm Mark Tyler. You want Christ-like, find Christ. Oh my God.
Let's jump to something else.
Hey, bro. So, I'm sorry. Basically, don't listen to the likes of Rand Paul. If you want to save your life, find people who are not telling you information about COVID for political reasons. Uh-huh. All right. So whatever you can say, whatever you want to say about our stance on COVID-19, but I'm pretty sure that you will agree that we're not telling you this because we're Democrats or because we're progressive or whatever label you want to put on. It's because we just believe that the disease is real and we're trying to like save people's lives. But when you have people who are out here because this fits their political narrative, right, and that's all this is about, right. Then you got to question that. And again, this is taking a life of its own, and unfortunately, right now, it's doing what we all predicted last year. It didn't happen last year, but it's happening this year, which is killing the people who think that it's a hoax.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, bottom line.
Period. Full stop. Full stop.
Absolutely.
Hey,
we need to talk.
So in Philadelphia, great news story. Mm-hmm. On the front page this morning of a man who was freed from prison. after 50 years. He is subsequently taken, he pleaded now for I guess like a lesser crime that would have given him 10 to 20 years. So he's now free based on essentially time served in what looks like an arrangement with the DA's office, DA Krasner. What makes this story so important is that this man served, of his 50 years, he did 37 years in solitary confinement.
Ooh, my God. 37 years.
Man.
That hurts.
37. How
Wow.
does a person do 37 years in solitary?
I don't know. I guess it's
Yeah.
a big payout coming from the city.
So Arthur Johnson, also known as Satawa, I hope I pronounced that right. No, I've heard it before, has been freed. Another effort done by the Innocence Project, so the Innocence Project or the Abolition Center. They both may have been a part of that. But yeah, my man did 37 years. I've got a really good friend I grew up with who's been incarcerated now for going on 30. And likewise, he did a number of years in solitary.
Mm-hmm.
And man, it changes people.
Yeah, I mean, the impact on mental health that they've studied people who have been in solitary confinement for just short periods of time is devastating. I can only imagine what it is, the damage that's been done over 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like a case in which Philadelphia is about to pay out another $5 million, and the state's probably going to pay out some money on that one too.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you say?
No, I said, oh yeah.
That's not helpful at all. I mean, solitary confinement has been considered in some circumstances cruel and unusual punishment, and it's not supposed to be extended after a certain period of time. So having somebody isolated for 37 years is not helpful to their mental health and well-being, and then to find out that they're innocent even makes it worse.
Yeah, he said he forgot how it feels to touch another person or talk to another person without a glass screen or a phone.
Wow.
Yeah, he said he was convicted when Rizzo was police commissioner.
That's in the 70s. In the 60s and the 70s.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. He was a teenager. Let's see, the U.S. was in Vietnam. He was a teen. Yeah, I mean, so it's just, again, another one of these stories that really continue to paint the picture of how much more work there has to be in deep, ways that we change the criminal justice system. That you don't hear these kind of stories happening to other people. You hear these stories happening to black folk.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, and again, so he tried to escape a lot when he was younger, and so he was given indefinite solitary. I'm sure people are like, well, what did he do? So yeah, he tried to escape, and but he was given an indefinite punishment of solitary confinement, and along the way, it turned out to be about the length of a generation.
Wow, that's just cruel.
37 years. And so speaking of the Philadelphia district attorney, Krasner just continues, and I'm a Krasner guy, so I'm going to be like, Mrs. Paul and not disclose that. But I'm just saying he continues to live up to a lot of the reasons that people, voted for him and what people hoped that he would do. And so his office was supportive of this. But also in the news yesterday, the DA filed motions against the police and is seeking to have the department held in contempt for not giving information on alleged officer misconduct.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because, so if you have a case and it's being made off the testimony of police officers or a particular officer is involved and it is withheld, that officer, I don't know, has a pattern of lying? Wouldn't that be helpful to the defense?
Absolutely. Absolutely helpful to the defense. And so folk are trying to hide I guess the police department's trying to hide their misconduct and their actions.
Never. What have you ever heard of police not being forthcoming?
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Lovely Philadelphia Police Department. Okay.
Cops
So,
always tell the truth.
mm.
They're the police.
Literally,
They've
I
been-
saw somebody's truck the other day that said, the police are always right. We should support the police. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you've got to be kidding. And then I sped up just to right next to the person. I looked in and I was like, oh, okay, never mind. I understand where this is coming from. So, yeah, you know, I was just like, this is, you're delusional if you think that's the case. I mean, look, let me just say this about the police. So, you know, unlike a lot of other folk, I actually believe you need some level of police in a community, right? Peace officers, you know, those that have been called to uphold the law, because people actually do break the law, and you need to deal with that accordingly. However, I don't think we need the level of policing that we have right now, you know, to address many of the issues. I think there are other ways to address issues that we are not looking at, and we're not having some imagination and innovation around. But I actually believe in that there has to be some level of policing. As a matter of fact, I remember when I first started hearing about the defunding thing, and I'm like, I hear you on that, except I know some folk that need to be in jail. So let me just be clear, right? There are some folk out there that they need some. Now, I believe in rehabilitation. I don't believe in just being punitive. I believe in rehabilitation. But, you know, here was the thing that really got me in the midst of all of this, was that, you know, there are moments and times when police act like the criminal enterprises they're supposed to be breaking up. And that is problematic for me. That's, you know, that's why I mean, we make the assumption that everybody in the police department is going to, you know, uphold the law and do what they're supposed to do. And we just know that that's not the truth. And I think that to act like, you know, police are above the law or beyond the law, somehow or another is a fallacy that, you know, many people have adopted. It's almost like, you know, folk that don't think you need a vaccine to get rid of, you know, to not get COVID. There's no 100% anything. And so there is a percentage of police that are evil, that do wrong things, that are criminals, and they bring criminal intent into their work. There are cops out there that will see the criminal intent of other police officers and speak on it and address it, and we call them good cops. And the folk that just see it and don't do anything, we don't call them good cops. Right, because they're letting this criminal enterprise continue to exist when they've been sworn to uphold the law, and that becomes problematic. So there are some good cops, there are some bad cops, and then there are a bunch of folk in the middle that know what's going on but don't do anything about it, and those are the folk that I have a problem with.
Yeah.
In addition to the bad cops.
Wow.
Now, I know that's not a popular opinion, and that's okay, because this is an opinion show, as you said earlier, and I got opinions, and I got plenty of them. But, you know, at the same time, I'm like, you know, if you're sworn to uphold the law, but you see the law being broken by your, you know, your fellow officer, you're not willing to address it or even speak to them about it and say, yo, man, you know, you need to stop that. That's a problem.
Right. And to that point, this is why this is an important story. So what Krasner's office is saying is this, and let me just read a quick excerpt from the story that was in the Inquirer this morning. Krasner says his office needs the information to prevent wrongful convictions and to ensure that solid cases don't fall apart.
Right.
I mean, to your point. So on the one hand, you know, we don't want anybody, like so many of the stories we keep talking about, to go to jail for a crime they did not commit. And so we need that information. And by the same token, for people, often black folk in the city, who have been victims of crime, who want to see people prosecuted, who have done harm in the community, and we can debate how that, you know, justice is administered, but the case needs to be made, right? I mean, you're like out there like beating up old people and robbing from them, and, the community is angered and wants that person, held, then you don't want that case falling apart because, the cops forgot to disclose something about the officer or officers involved in the arrest or in the questioning or in the detention. And so this is, it should be just common sense, right? It should be a no-brainer that what we're saying is just what everybody would do. And yet we know that is not the case because oftentimes the blue wall is more important than the truth. And protecting one another is more important than the truth. And that in and of itself becomes a problem. It's 6:41. We got to take a quick break. And Renee on Facebook, sorry to hear, she said her dad did some time in solitary. And so, hope that he has been able to recover from that since he has been released since then. This is the Power Hour. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
I've done everything to stay healthy and protect my unborn child during COVID. The way I see it, getting vaccinated is one less risk to me and my baby's health for now and the future. Plus, free vaccines are available in my neighborhood. You don't even need an appointment. Just walk in. You have the power to finish this.
Visit pa.gov/COVID for more information. Paid for with Pennsylvania taxpayer dollars.
In Philly, COVID-19 vaccines are safe, free, and effective. It protects you from contracting the COVID-19 virus. Vaccines do not change your DNA or contain microchips. Caribbean people are not immune to the deadly virus without COVID-19 vaccine shots, and it does not affect your immigration status. Join us for our back-to-school COVID-19 vaccination resource fair on Saturday, August 21st from 11 to 3 p.m. at Sturgis Recreation Center in Allegheny. Free food, school supplies, and vaccines. Visit www.caribbeancommunityinphiladelphia.com, Facebook or Instagram page. Get in and get seen at the Einstein Orthopedics Fracture Care Clinic. If you think you've broken a bone or have been told by your doctor that you have a fracture, the Einstein Fracture Care Clinic offers same-day, in-person, or telehealth appointments. We don't just give you peace of mind. Einstein Orthopedics provides answers when you need them. Visit einstein.edu/fracturecare to learn more.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
Thinking about retirement? Make sure a My Social Security account is a part of your plan. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can find out if you're eligible to receive benefits, compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates, view spousal benefit estimates, and more. Plan for your future. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report's sponsored by SmartMouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Schuylkill Expressway, not a bad ride, still east and westbound this morning. Westbound Vine, busy 8th Street through Broadington Parkway through the Schuylkill Expressway. Southbound 95, Cottman down through Bridge, heavy through that work zone. Again, Allegheny through Girard, getting busy. Northbound side, watch for delays in the area of Bridge Street. An accident there now is off to the left. 55 northbound Deptford into 42, busy. 42 northbound between 55 and 295, still not too bad. Date night, you check your text, your hair, your smile, but did you check your breath? Get SmartMouth, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find SmartMouth in the mouthwash aisle at CVS or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
Now, a WURD weather update. Here's NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
Warm and humid this morning with bright sunshine that'll send our temperatures soaring. 90 at lunchtime will feel like 100 degrees. A high of 98 this afternoon with mostly sunny skies will feel like 106. Steamy tonight will dip down into the 70s by tomorrow morning. Another hot, humid day up to 98, feeling like 105. A chance of late day showers and thunderstorms on Friday evening, then likely on Saturday, and that breaks the heat wave. A high of 88 Saturday afternoon. I'm NBC 10 First Alert meteorologist Bill Henley.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
This is WURD, Progressive Black Talk Media, and you're listening to the Power Hour. I was getting my practice in so we get a bumper recorded, and do the thing. That's right. Hey, I just wanted to say something. Robert Garland was talking about Cori Bush. Congresswoman Cori Bush said the other day she wants to defund the police, but when asked about her police security, she said she wants to keep that. So Cori Bush has got a point. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene, who also got suspended from Twitter the other day, has been attacking Cori Bush and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in the Capitol building. That's why she has all the security, because Marjorie Taylor Greene got those QAnon crazies out there chasing down Cori Bush and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others who she disagrees with. But I mean, literally, there's been several incidents where Marjorie Taylor Greene and Boebert, I forgot her first name, have literally attacked her in the hallways of the Congress. So that's why she's got
verbally attacked her.
Verbally attacked, yes, not physically attacked her, although she got up in her face and everything. And if you're not wearing a face mask and you are, not vaccinated, or even when there should be social distancing mandates and you're up in my face, I feel like that's actually a physical assault.
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, you're right. But it's still something just about that whole thing, that the idea to me that Cori Bush Cori Bush from the Lou, St. Louis, Cori Bush is somehow afraid of Marjorie Taylor Greene assaulting her.
Well, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene has gotten really bad. I mean, she's
I ain't saying she hadn't. I'm just saying.
I mean, they've actually had to censor her right on the floor of the House because she's just gone off, and she's not stable.
I understand that, but it just kind of seems to me that if it ever had to really come down to it, that Cori Bush would lay hands on her.
Well, Cori Bush would lay hands on her, but it's not just what Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene are doing to her individually. It's what their minions will take that as permission to do outside of the congressional building.
I don't disagree with that at all. Yeah. I don't. I'm just saying, when I go back to that original story when Cori Bush was saying how, that where it was reported out that she was somehow afraid for, her safety in that moment where Marjorie Taylor Greene, rolled up on her. That part for me is just I'm like, sis, come on now. Come on now. That would have been short work for you. Marjorie Taylor Greene would have been like, what happened?
But I mean, here's the thing though, right? If she knocked her out, if she were to do that, she would get kicked out of Congress. You know that as well as I do. She would get kicked out. Okay, and so, this is the double standard, right? There's the double standard.
Now that is 100% fact, even though it's conjecture right now, but we do know based on history, that is fact, that if they got into a physical alteration, the only person to suffer any consequence would be Cori Bush. Yeah. Nikki O'Tim says Cori Bush actually needs security to hold her back from knocking Marjorie Taylor Greene out. Now, that is probably, I think that's what it is. She's like, hold me back. The whole, hold me back. Hold me back. I'm just saying, that's just who was the last person Cori Bush was ever afraid of? Come on. But yeah, you're right. And the truth is, though, that unfortunately we live in a time where our elected officials, I think all of them in any district or whatever who can afford security need to provide some level of security for them, because, we are in a different time. One of the stories we didn't touch on that I had lifted up, and this goes back to our original story about COVID, how it has become so politicized. So right now, it's kind of not necessarily for those who are in favor of vaccines, and those who are in favor of mask mandates when appropriate and things of that nature. Because again, I don't think by and large we did this because we're Biden supporters, right? Or because we were Obama voters. No, I just did it because you believed it to be right. But on the other side, it has become the badge of honor and the way to show that you are with Trump, right? So in Tennessee, in a suburban school district, yesterday, I believe, CNN reported that a debate inside the school board meeting about wearing masks for children wearing masks going back to school, erupted. I mean, man, it was like chaotic. And a lot of the school board members are feeling like members of Congress that, I don't know, man, maybe some of these people are going to physically hurt me and physically attack me for voting yes. And so maybe I just vote no on a mask mandate, not because I don't believe the science, but because I don't have security and one of these people are crazy enough to try to hurt me.
Right.
It has literally come down to that.
The madness. It's just madness.
Yeah.
It's just sheer madness.
I
mean, you know, you watch. I mean, they've been, you know, watching these debates happening in school board meetings around the country, and you know, I mean, forget critical race theory right now that they've been arguing and fighting about. Right, this whole mask mandate thing. You know, I never heard, and they were like, it would be detrimental to our children's health to wear face masks, their mental health. And I'm like, and COVID will be detrimental to their health, period. You know, this is just insane stuff, some insane stuff.
Well, we are in a heightened period of time. And like all things, there's an ebb and flow of life. Mm-hmm. And so when will this end? I cannot predict that. I don't have, a magic globe to look into, but I know enough about history to know that these waters of anger will recede, and at some point, bipartisan ism and working together and all of those things, as good as we can do it, will come back. But when you're at a moment like this, you really do need to pay attention to your environment and your surroundings. I mean, a lot of these people are unstable, and I said when you were out on vacation, there was a story about their new buzzword is muzzled. That's what they're calling people who wear masks. Have you heard that?
No, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, so if you wear a mask, they're saying, take off your muzzle. They're trying to muzzle you.
No, you're trying to kill me. There's a difference.
Right. And they're like spitting in your face. Like you said, like white spit coming out of there all in your face. Like, they want you to take your muzzle off. It's like, bro, really? First of all, take 5 steps back.
That's right. 6 feet at least. Maybe make it 10.
And put your muzzle on and tell me about this muzzle I'm wearing again. That's where we are, bro.
I got you. Well, that's about it for our show today. We thank you and appreciate everybody for being here with us. Thank you, Dr. Tyler, for everything you do. Thank you for Koisa for holding down the boards and making sure that we are on the air and able to do what we have to do. Thank you to everybody that checked us out today on the air, through the app, through the internet, those that checked us out through social media, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, all the various means that you are able to check us out. We deeply appreciate you. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to bring you the latest in news, happenings around Philadelphia, and, of course, our opinion. Make sure you stay tuned for Wake Up with Word with Solomon Jones. And do yourselves a favor. Go out, change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. Peace.